Napoleon Bonaparte, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of empires. The brilliant strategist who changed the face of Europe with nothing but grit, genius, and a relentless drive for power. He won battles that others thought impossible. He marched through countries like they were chessboards. He crowned himself Emperor of France. And for a time, he ruled half the continent. But there's one story you probably haven't heard. The one where Napoleon was defeated. Not by the British, not by the Russians. Not by a powerful alliance of armies. No, Napoleon's strangest, most unexpected defeat came at the hands of rabbits. Yes, fluffy, fuzzy, floppy-eared rabbits. And no, this isn't a joke. It's a real moment in history. Hilarious, absurd, and totally true. This is the tale of Napoleon's bunny battle. The day the mighty general faced his cutest and most chaotic enemy yet. Let's hop into it. Chapter 1. The War Hero Who Needed a Break. By the early 1800s, Napoleon was at the height of his power. He had crushed the Austrians. He'd humbled the Prussians. He'd even marched his Grande Armée into Moscow, though that one didn't go so well. But in 1807, after signing the Treaty of Tilsit with Russia, Napoleon wanted a moment of peace, a moment to breathe. After years of non-stop war, the emperor decided to celebrate with a good old-fashioned European pastime, a rabbit hunt. And this wasn't going to be a small picnic. Oh no, this was Napoleon. Everything had to be grand. So he asked his chief of staff, Alexandre Berthier, to organize a lavish hunting party. He wanted to relax with his generals and show off a little. Food, wine, prestige, and hundreds of rabbits to shoot. Because what better way to bond than blasting bunnies with muskets? Berthier got to work. Chapter 2. The Bunny Purchase. Berthier was known for being precise. He was organized, efficient, and a bit of a micromanager. So when Napoleon said, "Let's hunt rabbits," Berthier went all in. He arranged for the fields to be set up, horses ready, food prepped, guests invited. But there was one big issue. They didn't have enough rabbits. See, wild rabbits are tricky. You can't exactly control where they go or how they behave. So Berthier came up with a brilliant solution. Buy tame rabbits. He ordered several hundred, some say up to 3,000, domesticated rabbits from local farmers and had them delivered in cages the night before. The idea? Release the rabbits into the field right before Napoleon and his men arrive. They'd scatter, the guests would fire. Everyone would cheer and the emperor would look like a hero, and again, what could go wrong? Everything. Chapter 3. The Flop Heard Round the Empire. It was a perfect afternoon. The sun was shining, the table was set. Napoleon's inner circle gathered, a who's who of military might and European nobility. The moment arrived, the cages were opened, and the rabbits were released. At first, it was exactly as planned. The rabbits hopped out into the field. Napoleon stood, musket in hand, ready to take his shot. But then something strange happened. Instead of running away in fear, the rabbits turned toward the emperor. They didn't flee, they charged. It started with a hop. At first, it was just a few. A dozen rabbits made their way toward Napoleon, hopping lightly through the grass. The men laughed. Look, they're coming right to us. How cute, they thought. Then it became 20, then 50, then hundreds. The rabbits weren't running away. They were swarming. Bunny Blitz. Within seconds, Napoleon and his generals were surrounded. Rabbits darted around their boots, jumped into their coats, tugged on their pant legs. They climbed into the imperial carriage. They nibbled at belts and boots. They even tried to jump into baskets of bread and wine. And remember, these weren't wild rabbits. They were farm-raised. They weren't scared of humans. They were used to being fed by them. So when they saw Napoleon and his fancy party, they thought, lunch is here. Chapter 4. Chaos in the Field. Panic set in. At first everyone laughed, but then the rabbits kept coming. They weren't afraid of shouts or stomps. Men started swinging jackets, muskets, and swords to keep the horde back. Some tried to run, but the rabbits chased them. Napoleon attempted to retreat to his carriage, but the rabbits were already inside it. One officer yelled, "We are under siege by bunnies." Napoleon himself reportedly fled the field, shouting in frustration as rabbits swarmed around him. Even Berthier, the man who planned the whole thing, had to dive behind a table to escape the bunny barrage. It was an utter failure. The rabbit hunt had turned into a rabbit ambush. Chapter 5. The Aftermath. After the chaos subsided, the field was a mess. Broken baskets, trampled food, chewed leather boots, and hundreds of very well-fed, very satisfied rabbits. Napoleon was furious. Berthier, humiliated, tried to explain. "They weren't wild," he stammered. "They thought you were their master. They just wanted food." Napoleon, the man who had once outmaneuvered entire coalitions of European powers, had just been overrun by hungry rabbits. He never mentioned the incident again. The imperial court never spoke of it, but word leaked. And soon the story of Napoleon's most ridiculous battle spread across Europe. The great general had lost to a gang of fuzzy invaders. Chapter 6. Why this actually matters now. Let's be clear, this story is hilarious. But it's not just about rabbits, it's about hubris. Napoleon, the man who crowned himself emperor, believed he could control anything. And yet, when faced with a situation that didn't follow the script, he was helpless. It's a reminder that not everything can be predicted, that sometimes the most powerful man in the world can be humbled by the smallest creatures. And it shows how over-planning without understanding the reality can backfire spectacularly. Berthier wanted to control the hunt, so he removed the wild from the wild animals, and instead of a triumph, he delivered one of the most embarrassing moments in Napoleon's life. Ours is Chapter 7, Legacy of the Bunny Battle. Historians rarely include the rabbit incident of 1807 in textbooks, but it remains a favorite among military history nerds and lovers of obscure facts. It has appeared in satirical plays, history podcasts, cartoons, and trivia nights. Even Napoleon's fiercest enemies couldn't help but laugh at the idea of the great general running from bunnies. Over the years, the story has grown into legend. Some say it was only a few rabbits. Others claim it was thousands. Either way, it's real. It's documented in the letters of Napoleon's staff and accounts from French military officers. And it stands today as one of the strangest, most delightful defeats in history. And so what can we learn from this story? Maybe, that no one is invincible, that even the greatest tactician in the world isn't immune to a little chaos. And maybe, just maybe, history isn't always about bloodshed and tragedy. Sometimes it's about bunnies storming your picnic. Napoleon would go on to fight more battles. He'd rise again and fall again, and eventually he'd be exiled to the island of St. Helena, far away from European battlefields and from hungry rabbits. But if you ever find yourself getting a little too confident, if you think everything's going exactly to plan, just remember, so did Napoleon, until the rabbits came. Thanks for watching this wild slice of history. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, subscribe for more strange tales, and drop a comment. What's the weirdest historical fail you know about? Until next time, stay curious, stay humble, and maybe don't feed the rabbits. See you in the next story.